Today we're going to do something fun. We're going to do some string painting, red pulling, string pulling. It's all the same or similar. You may have seen this kind of string painting, which is absolutely
gorgeous,
but it's also
very messy.
I have found a way to get a gorgeous result with way less mess.
and it's super easy too.
Let's not waste any time and let's just get to it. Let's start with grabbing some string. First let me show you some thread, just some regular thread that you use for sewing. I like the thicker kind because the thin kind is way too fussy, so let's start with ditching that. You can also use a bit thicker twine, like cotton twine or twine you use for binding stuff. I'm going to start with the thin twine and I'm going to grab my gelatos. Gelatos are water-soluble crayons. They look like sort of a chapstick, and because they are packed like a chapstick, they don't easily break, which I really like, and they have a little cap, so they are a little bit less messy than regular crayons. So I have my rainbow colors gelatos and I have added the thread in a zigzag. So I basically can see on how large a piece I want to add my color. Wow, that was hard to explain. Anyway, so I'm going to color the different pieces of my thread and I'm just pressing down my crayon on the paper, and this makes it a little less messy, and I pull on the thread and that way I can color it easily. And I do that for all the 6 colors. And once I have the complete string colored with all the 6 colors, I'm going to spray some water. And this will help to activate the pigment in the gelatos. I add the wet thread on a piece of kitchen paper, so the excess fluid can soak in a little bit. This will make it a bit easier to handle with less smudging. Then I'm going to add my thread on a card and I'm laying it down in sort of a zigzag over the card. Then I'm adding a paper on top. You can also use a card, and I just press it down with my hand while I pull on the thread. Now you can about feel it moving, so you can add a little bit more pressure on the parts where the thread is, and this is the result, a really cool zigzag flower. You can also use multiple colored threads in the same way, just add them a little bit in a zigzag sort of way, and it doesn't really matter what kind of pattern you make. Just try to fill up your card a bit so you get a nice bit of color on your card. And once that is in place, I'm going to add the card I just made my print on. I press on the card a little bit and then I hold it down and I pull the strings again. And the reveal, my initial print with 2 more added, and the card I added the strings on. Now you have a really nice bundle of colored threads. You can use them again on another card. Now if you're not quite sure if there's enough color on your string and you will get a nice result, just make a test run in a journal or on a scrap piece of paper so you can see if you are ready to do it for real. Now let's give that thicker string a go. I'm going to use 3 colors and I'm going to color 3 of those strings at the same time. And the easiest way to add the color is to hold the threads down between 2 fingers because they tend to roll a bit sideways when you're adding your color. So holding them down with 2 fingers and then coloring in between is a little bit easier. Make sure to color them on 2 sides because they are a bit thicker. So I'm just adding all the 3 colors again. And once all my colors are in place, I'm going to spray some water to activate the gelatos and let that color soak in the string too. Then I'm going to make some loops and I'm going to lay the loop on the card and guide the rest of the string downwards over my card. And I want it about in the middle, so I'm going to add 3 loops. And once they are in place, I add my second card. You can use a scrap piece of paper too. If you want 2 cards, just add another card on top. And that way you will get a second print. And I just pull all my strings downwards. And you can see this gives a bit more of a textured result. Now, because there's quite a lot of white still on my card, I'm going to add some green loops. Also colored them in the same way, sprayed some water. And I'm going to add my loops. And I only needed 4 basically, but I'm going to add all 5. I lay them out on my card and then add the second card on top again. And then I'm going to pull and press and pull and press and pull until all strings are out. And then this is the effect it gives. And to get a bit more texture on my flowers, I'm just adding some gelatos on an acrylic block. I'm diluting it with a water brush and then I'm tapping on the brush to get some splats. I know you can totally skip this step. If you don't like splats, just leave them splatless. You don't need to splat. I like splats. I just like them. And now let's try something else. I'm going to tear some sticky notes and I'm making sure that there's a sticky piece on the small strip as well as on the bigger bigger piece. And the bigger ones, I add that at the bottom, and you can use just one sticky note, but I only had small ones. Then I have my little strip and I'm going to fold that. Fold it on both sides, then you leave them open. Then I have some strings already prepared, colored them in 2 colors per string, so I can put them on my card. And then I'm going to make some loopy things. So I'm going to zigzag and let them land. And now you can guide them into nice loops and zigzags, or just let them land where they want to. Every design is going to be unique and always pretty, so it really doesn't matter that much. I'm going to add all the strings on the card, and you can move them around a little bit. This will give you a little bit of smudging, but you can also add this part on a scrap piece of paper and add the pretty card on top. Sometimes they are a bit fussy, and today they were fussy. So this is what I'm getting today, so let's just be happy with it. And I'm nicely zigzagging all the way around over the little strip and over the end part. And then I'm going to close the little loop, it's a very important part, and I'm going to add a sticky note on top, also torn. Then I add my second card. And then I'm going to rub on it, and then I'm going to press it down while I'm pulling all the strings. Yes, I am pulling quite a lot of strings here. So I'm taking off the sticky notes. Then you can see you get a really pretty flower bouquet. You can connect the lines using a cotton tip with some diluted gelatos. Now for the card with the smudges, I added some little dots over those smudges to hide them. And here are the other flowers. I added a little bit of color along the edges, and this gives you 2 different results. And here are a few card ideas I previously made in the short videos. And when you have a nice pattern on your card, all you need to add are some small details to finish that card. I see I pulled you all the way through. Now subscribe here, watch more here, and as always, make sure to keep on crafting.